be pushing through a set. My legs are absolutely burning and I'm sweating, but I've got to get through. This rep has to count and this rep has to count, and slow it down and focus. I want my quads to be better than they were last year and last time on stage. That time on stage is such a short amount of time. It matters to me because I want to push and I want to know, can I be better? And I know I can, so I visualize how I'm going to look on stage and how I'm going to represent what all the hard work that I've been doing in those quiet moments on my own. I want to show the world.
Welcome back to the Comp Closet podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm your host, Sarah Moore, and today we are diving into the journey of an inspiring figure pro, Tracey Defferrard. Welcome.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be on your podcast. This has been a little while in the works, but yeah, today's the day to hop on and have a chat.
Yeah, I'm so excited to find out more about your journey. So could you start by sharing a bit about your background and what initially drew you into fitness?
Yeah, cool. So I've always been a sporty kid. I was a bit of a tomboy growing up, but I also tried like every style of dance I could, but I never sort of stuck with dance. I was really into athletics and swimming. I did a bit of gymnastics, netball for lots of years as well, and then sort of any sort of term sport that we did in health and physical education class in senior. And then I also loved the fashion world, so I wanted to be a catwalk model, but I was told I was 5 kilos overweight and too muscly, all the usual stuff. So that sort of was in my early 20s, and I never really thought about bodybuilding. I worked for a plastic surgeon in my early 20s and used to joke around, doing consults for breast implants for clients that unless you're going to be a bodybuilder, you can have your implants under the muscle. And I'm never going to be a bodybuilder, and here we are all these years later. But yeah, I think I was always sporty, and it wasn't until I got married and had my son that my then husband said, you're always looking at those Oxygen fitness mags, and I saw Hattie and a few other now pros on the covers back then, and I just always thought, wow, that's incredible. I loved the physiques, the bodies, and they were representing themselves in a beautiful model way, but they were really fit, and I didn't think I would ever fit into that category, but I thought, oh, maybe one day I'll give it a go at a small competition. So I did a local ICN, which was INBA, and got a second and a third. One of the categories was like first time mummers, and it was pretty cool. But I got in a bad relationship with food after that comp, and I think I binged for a good year or so. Said I'd never compete again, but then I thought, oh, I wouldn't mind like doing better. So I found a different local coach, and she put me through most of a prep, and about 3 weeks out from another ICN comp, I was just binging again, and we were sort of arguing about her meal plan, which was about 900 calories, I think. And I'm like, I can't do this. I'm not functioning. I was moody, and I said, no, I'm not competing. Stopped having her as my coach. And then it's probably about 12 months later, I found Alicia Gowans online and just started following her. And, I really respected all her posts and what she represented. And I thought, maybe I'll contact her and we'll try this ICN thing again. But then I saw all of her clients starting to do WBFF comps. I'm like, oh, maybe I'll give it a go. So I did my first bikini WBFF comp, and that was 2018. I didn't place at all. I didn't still have the best control over my eating. So I was improving every prep, but I knew I could do better. And I also felt like I didn't quite fit into the bikini category. So, I look at a dumbbell and my shoulders start to grow, and I don't know, I liked the physiques of the fitness girls. So next year, stepped up into the fitness category and got the 35 plus first place and my pro card. So that was pretty cool. Yeah, I absolutely loved that. And I changed a lot in that prep. I got a trainer as well as having Ali as my coach, and really sort of learnt to push myself and to say yes to myself. I sort of said no to a lot of social functions and got used to being uncomfortable saying no, but that was just part of my new identity, and sort of owned it a lot more. And then becoming a pro, I really started to really own that as part of who I was moving forward. And that sort of changed the trajectory of the rest of, the next chapter of my life. So, yeah, so that was my pro card win in 2019. And then we sort of started to see the physiques change a little bit. So I guess, the figure category was still quite small. But I was looking at Asher and Belle, and I started talking to them a lot more. And I'm like, oh, geez, if I keep training and really pushing myself, I started to grow a bit more, and I wanted to see how far I could push myself. As uncomfortable and hard as I knew that was going to be, I really wanted to see how far I could go. So the next time I was gunning for the figure category, but in that time we had COVID. I had 3 preps, or the attempt of prepped cancelled, I guess, because all our shows were cancelled, as you know. But in that time we had a virtual competition, so it was the World WBFF virtual comp, and I stepped up into figure then at Pauline's recommendation as to where I would fit, and so I got second place in that one. Okay, well, I'm figure then. Yeah, since then I've been in the figure category and feel I found my spot, and just tried to get, a little bit better every time. Definitely my nutrition for me has been the biggest thing. And working with Ali consistently over the years, we've fine-tuned it, and my relationship with food, and I own it now, and it's great. And I think it's easier now because I know that people around me know who I am and what I do, and they're like, oh yeah, that's just what she eats, and that's fine. And she brings a Tupperware container to an event, or it's just, there's no question about it. So I can relax more on, how it is.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Journey. It's so cool to see how you kind of managed to merge those passions for fitness and fashion as well, and kind of found your spot in bodybuilding, which is
Yeah. Yes.
cool.
So cool.
Yeah, and I think that relationship with food is something that a lot of competitors struggle with, especially at the start of their journey. Did you struggle at all with the feeling of thinking people were judging you, like, for your decisions with food and things when you first started
Totally.
eating?
Yeah. So I, in this sort of period of time of competing, have gone through a divorce, and I was part of a European family, and it was very much wine every night with dinner, champagne as an aperitif before dinner, 3-course meal, not overly unhealthy, but certainly not how I would eat comp prep food. And yeah, my father-in-law was very close with us, and we sort of essentially lived next door. So there was a lot of shared meals together, and he didn't ever understand that I couldn't eat that or was choosing not to eat it. So that was quite difficult. And a constant, in a way, sort of being judged. So it is easier now. I'm not in that situation, but I'm definitely surrounded by a lot of support now. So my new partner also competes, and my son, his whole life I've been competing. So, I try actually to get him to eat some other foods, and a lot of the time he's like, "What are you eating, Mum? I'll eat chicken and rice."
I love that. It definitely helps
So
having that support around you. But do you have any advice for someone who potentially does have family members like you did previously who are very food focused and don't understand eating prep foods?
yeah, I guess it's just having the conversation, and as much as food can be a love language, particularly if that is the person that's cooking for the family, just still being there, still being at the table, going through that routine and custom, just, I guess maybe having the conversation, maybe I can have this salad just without that dressing, or I can eat most of this food, I just can't have it with, that on top of it, or, just so they can still cook for you. And that's the way they're showing their love. And you can be together at the table, but yeah, it's just not exactly to the recipe that he's used to. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think that's great advice. So, going back to your competing career so far, what are some of the most memorable moments for you?
Winning my pro card for sure, but probably the most special to me was last year having my son and my partner in the audience next to my coaches and the team, and yeah, that was amazing. So I've never had a lot of friends or family in the crowd, so to have my 2 most important men in my life in the audience, and I could actually hear both of them yelling, so that was pretty cool. Yeah, that was really special. So
Yeah,
regardless, regardless of the outcome, like it's just having those people there.
Yeah, yeah, it's so cool to have that support. And I remember actually sitting in the audience next to them as well, and I could hear them
Yeah.
like so proud yelling for you, and it was just such an incredible moment. So yeah, no, I
Yeah.
love that. And
Yeah.
what are some of the biggest challenges that you've faced on your journey?
It probably goes hand in hand with having family there is the mum guilt. Like, I've sort of felt a little bit today talking about my next competition. And I guess just juggling, work, business, family time, and I've definitely gotten better each prep organising my diary and organising what I need to do for myself and for the family. And I think if I've done a prep where I had to do up to 30,000 steps a day, and I don't recommend that to most people, and I don't like to share it because I don't think people should hear that that's going to work for them. That worked for me in that stage and that competition. It hasn't looked like that every prep, but yeah, it was a large amount of steps, and I had to fit that in. For me, I chose to do that after I put my son to bed, had made dinner, cleaned up the kitchen, got my partner sorted and relaxed, and then I would finish my steps up to 9:30, 10 o'clock at night, which I know is sort of counterproductive to sleep habits. So that's one lesson I've learned, and I've already put in place things for my next prep that isn't going to happen. But yeah, I think mummy guilt is probably the biggest one, and that's self-imposed challenges as well. I've got a supportive family, and my son says he understands, but you want to make sure that they're getting the attention, the love, and their homework's getting ticked off, and they're eating well, and they're sleeping, and they're okay, and they know that I'm okay. I'm choosing to do this, but yeah, it does wreak havoc sometimes. So yeah, but I think being organised and communicating with everybody to let them know what I need to do and how our week's going to look is a big thing.
Yeah, for sure. I always admire all the mums out there prepping because I know, myself that prep is definitely time consuming and it's definitely a selfish sport and I don't have kids or anything to worry about, just a dog. So yeah, I
Yeah.
definitely admire all the mums out there putting in the time. And yeah, do you have any advice for someone else who's struggling with that mum guilt?
Yeah, look, I mean, even if it's not mum guilt, you're still juggling responsibilities for time. So, I've got a dog too, and you want to make sure the dog goes for their walk, and my dog walks super slow, so it's not as if I'm going to get heaps of steps with her. So yeah, it's just I think being organized and making sure that you plan ahead. So you know that prep's going to be whatever it is, 20 weeks, maybe 8 weeks in this phase, 6 weeks in that phase, and just looking ahead as much as you can, really discussing everything with your coach and as much as possible having a plan in place, but knowing that you might have to pivot at some point. And life happens, people get sick, things happen with work, car breaks down, cyclones come. Yeah, I think knowing that there will also always be competitions. So, during COVID and having to pull out of my second prep, like sometimes it's not the right time to prep. I think if as much as you can have things in place, if you're going through a breakup or you're starting a business, and I've done all of this, maybe it's not the right time, or maybe it's not the best time. If you really want to bring your best package to stage, put in months of hard work and spend a reasonable amount of money as well as energy, um, and sort of shift some social events and things like that, then yeah, you really need to plan as much as possible and decide after much consideration, is this the right time as well?
Yeah, absolutely. And
Yeah.
if it's not the right time, then I think you'll never regret having more time before a show. Like when I look back on all of those cancelled preps,
Yeah.
'cause I only competed for the first time after COVID, after 3 cancelled preps. Like a lot of people had those cancelled preps. I'm so grateful for that time because you have
Yeah, absolutely.
like you can see those as practice preps. You kind of know your body better and you have more time to pose. So yeah, it's never a bad thing to push it out if it's not the right time for you.
Yeah, and we know that now, like now that
Yeah.
we've gone through some of that learning and experience, but I guess sometimes you're just so excited and you're so desperate, like now's the time and this is the year. Um, yeah, but there's still always competitions, which is great.
Yeah, absolutely. So you mentioned you are back on prep for another show. What show are you doing and how's it
Yes.
going so far?
Yep. So this was not planned all year, to be honest. So I was planning to compete next year, but then a few things happened recently, and I've had a pretty good building season thus far. So we've decided to do the Bali show. So last show of this year, which I'm so excited about. It's another international show. I've done one before in Vegas, which was amazing. But this will be maybe, a little bit more relaxed. It's a shorter flight, which I'm grateful for. And I think it'll be a nice sort of small show as well. So I'm just really excited. I know there's quite a few quality athletes going over, and I think there might be a few more that decide to come on board possibly as well. But yeah, I've just been keeping it quiet, just head down and just nicely, quietly focus. I've sort of shifted my mindset in that way. I don't need to let many people know. I'm just doing my thing and, enjoying the process. And I've done it so enough times now that it's just easy. So we just shift gears and, this is our focus now is our family, and a coaching team as well. So yeah, it's very exciting. So I've just got the last couple of details in place and locked them in. And yeah, 9 weeks out now as we're recording.
Wow, that is so exciting. It's going to be such an amazing show. I was looking up the venue and that online and it just looks incredible. Is the family
Yeah.
going over with you as well?
My partner will be, so yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, which we're good.
Amazing.
Yeah.
That is so exciting. And I love how you say that you're just kind of switching gears as well, because prep's probably not actually that different to your everyday life, right? Other than increasing steps and cardio and decreasing food a bit.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. So like I've had a really clean build this year. Partly that's been helped by the fact that my partner's been prepping all year. So he's just competed with IFBB last week. So, and that's sort of, I really wanted to focus on him for that part of the year. And yeah, so this decision for me to compete has really only not long decided. So yeah, but it's exciting.
Yeah, exciting. And what made you choose the Bali show?
Partly was the date, but also the venue. Like I didn't really want to travel too far this time, and we're going on a big family holiday for Christmas as well. So I thought it was like a nice little way to end the year, and then like a few weeks later, we really download and decompress as a family, and yeah, thought it'd be a really good timing wise for us.
Yeah, it would be such an amazing end to the year, especially with your holiday as well.
Yeah,
So,
yep.
as someone who balances coaching and a career as a cosmetic nurse as well, how do you manage your time during prep?
Yep. So I got really good with my diary. So my partner helped me with this, and I did a bit of work with Grania a couple of years ago as well from GMC. And because I had two businesses, I had a cosmetic injectables business, and my fitness coaching business as well. So I really needed to get quite organized. I was trying to do both jobs most days, which can work, but it doesn't work ideally. I think if you need to focus on the one thing, you can't if there's two things always in your mind. So I've broken my diary into clinic days and fitness days, and I'm solid on that. It's been really hard for me to break away from PT in the morning and then go to the clinic and PT after, because I was doing that a lot of the time and managing to do school drop-offs and after school care and my own training as well. So it was a bit much. Getting older and wiser and slowing down a little bit, which is really, really beneficial, I think, to my current prep. So now I have moved some of my coaching to more online and gotten out of the gym a little bit. I've still got a handful of PT clients, but I've tried to really minimize them into off-peak hours, as in during the day. So, not everyone can train during the day, but I've got a handful of my regulars that can on 2 days a week. And then everyone else is online following their programs. And we might just touch base with monthly workshops and things like that to keep that face-to-face interaction happening as well, which I really love. Like, I love being with the client. So it has been hard for me to step out of the gym and into the online space. So just figuring out how to do that slowly for me has been really good, and I'm just getting comfortable with that now. And I also closed my cosmetic injectables business last year. So I made the decision that two businesses was too much for me with competing. So now I'm working for a colleague who's very similar in experience and sort of mindset and everything that we do. And I respect her highly. So I'm fortunate enough that, we discussed and she took me on board. So I work for her now, so I can just sort of step out of that job and not have to worry about all the business back end of things for the cosmetic. So yeah, I've really made some good changes, especially this year. Yeah, and just sort of sitting down with my partner and making some goals for the family and for our financial fitness as well as our relationship and us as a family. Having goals that aren't just competing or business. We've got holiday goals and, long-term health goals as well. So, what's our life going to look like in 20 years, 30 years, not just 3 years.
Yeah, I love that you have goals in all areas of life, especially, when the two of you are such high level athletes as well. It could really take its toll on a family. So yeah, I love how you have all of those other goals as well, and you're obviously killing it in business too. So
It's
leveraging off
hard.
your yeah, hard to find that balance, right?
It is, yeah, but
Yeah.
you get smarter and wiser and you learn along the way for sure.
Yeah.
Lots of little mistakes, but yeah, that's how you learn. So
Absolutely. And
mm,
leveraging off your experience in the cosmetic industry, do you have any advice for competitors with aging concerns?
absolutely. The cheapest, easiest thing you can do is drink water. And I think, that most competitors know that, and we start to measure our water as we get to a certain level of comp. But I think compared to the general population, that's one thing that goes to the wayside. So water is one, but also, water in, but water out. So what you put on your skin as well. So get some good quality skincare. And if you haven't already, you might invest particularly in a skin consult every season. So we generally have 2 seasons where I live, which is basically summer and a very short winter. You're probably the reverse over where you live, and then other and like Victoria and places like that. You get your 4 seasons, so can really affect your skin. If you have any skin conditions, then don't be afraid to see a dermatologist and get on top of it. To keep up with skin aging, generally you will need in-clinic treatment, so a little bit more invasive when you're over the age of, say, 25. I would recommend it annually, and that might be microneedling. I love skin needling. It's an awesome treatment. You might just have 3 monthly, and you can get different levels with that. So you can just get the controlled trauma of the microneedling, which forces a healing process, so your skin gets rejuvenated. So you might feel a little bit tighter, your pores get smaller, any fine lines get a little bit more refined. But then we've got a bunch of infusions now. So at my clinic, we have the top level is called exosomes, which is basically, in a way, stimulating new cell growth. It used to be vampire facials were the thing where we'd take out blood and use part of that to infuse into the skin to stimulate basically stem cells. But now we can source that from donors, which is pretty cool. It's actually a really lovely treatment to have done if you can afford it. It's probably about $500 a treatment. If you're just getting the skin needling, though, that's a bit less. And if you're younger, you do not need as much as someone that is in their 30s and 40s. So I turned 40 this year. I'm going to need that little bit extra. But yeah, if you really want to get back to the basics, the main thing is sun protection, hydration, eat healthy. If you're not already, most parts of Australia, for sure, you need an SPF 50 sunscreen. And even if you're not going out to sunbake or get intentional sun exposure that's over 10-15 minutes, there's a lot of reflective sunlight. So I live in far north Queensland, so it's like the skin cancer capital of the world, and the reflection up here is pretty intense. So places like Bali, it's even worse. So if you've got lovely fair skin like you and I have, well, we have to be really careful. But even those darker skin types can still get skin cancers, sun damage, and do. So a couple of key skincare products. Live a healthy lifestyle. Don't get too much sun. Easy.
And for anyone who's competing in the Bali show, what can they do in the weeks leading up to the show to ensure their skin's in the best condition?
Probably all those things. I think the added thing is that we do need to prepare your skin for the tan. So, I was listening to the owner of our tanning company, and his name just escapes me for a moment. Sam. I was listening to Sam on a podcast, and his recommendations about looking after your skin as well, leading into the tan. I think, and it was you interviewing him actually, which was awesome. Just really keeping your skin hydrated, so inside and out. Bali's really a very hot climate as well, so wearing things that are light and breathing. Showering as soon as you can after your workouts as well, particularly if you are someone that's prone to a little bit of breakouts. And you don't want to get any skin irritations, particularly if you're starting to get any hair reduction treatments leading to a show and you're not used to it. So if you don't want to have any rashes or things like that leading to a show, because they can take time to heal, and if your body's already under stress, your healing capacity goes down as well. So just trying to be careful, exfoliate your skin, moisturize, go for like a body butter over like a cheap like Sorbeline or something like that. Some of the body oils are quite nice, like the coconut oil, palm olive, the Palmer's. Yeah, just have a look around, but just doing a few basic things, moisturizing, exfoliating, and I would have a trial run with any hair reduction treatments if you haven't done it before. Start a couple of hair growth cycles before. So a hair growth cycle is about 6 weeks. We want to do that maybe 12, 18 weeks out as well, just to really be on top of it.
Yes, absolutely. I've heard of people like going to get a wax or something the week before a show and they react to the wax. So yeah,
Yeah,
definitely
yeah,
go with that recommendation and get it done a couple hair cycles before. I love that advice.
yeah.
So moving away from beauty tips and onto building muscle, it's obviously a significant part of competing, especially in the figure category. What strategies have you found are most effective?
Time and really following your and having a trust with your coach's program. It takes time. Every sort of, I think the older you are, the more capacity you have to obviously build muscle. You've got more time to build muscle. Your patience is there as well, and hopefully your education is there as to how to perform a lift. So, really taking the time to make sure every rep counts. So, particularly if you're changing sports. So if you're new to bodybuilding, you're coming from a cardio based sport in particular, where you typically don't stop and you go, 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 it can be hard to change your mindset and your practice to, take 5 seconds to do one rep, or take 6 seconds or even longer. And then, in between that, actually take your rest period. So, we're not resting for 45 seconds, we're resting for 90 or 90 seconds to 2 minutes, particularly when you're in a build phase. And for me, that doesn't change much at all throughout the year. Maybe the last final weeks when I'm really cutting down and shredding, I might go into a bit more like heavy conditioning and just getting everything left that I've got in my body in terms of fat, just shredding the last little bit. But in terms of, I really need to maintain as much muscle as I can in the figure category. So making the training program work optimally, but obviously that's supported by nutrition. So muscle isn't going to grow if you don't have that body fat in your building season to support the muscle growth. But, mostly that's going to come from your protein and carbs as a priority. Reducing stress and making sure like sleep takes a priority as well. And that's something that I've had to learn, that 4 or 5 hours of sleep is not optimal, and it can really be counterproductive. And I've noticed that particularly when in prep, those nights that I haven't slept well for whatever reason that might be, is the scale weight may not change, or scarily it could have gone up. Your body's telling you you need more rest. And rest is a big thing as well. So in my the start of a building season, I might just start with 4 days of weight training. There won't be cardio. I generally move like about 10 to 12,000 steps a day anyway, so that's not an issue for me. And that works well for, my mindset, walking the dog and being with the family and, moving around the gym with my clients. That's not hard. And general sort of health and fitness is there. But yeah, I think building muscle takes time, patience, rest, food,
Yeah, it really is
things.
all of those things, isn't it? And I think patience is a big one. Like that's definitely something I have learned in the past couple of years is just really being patient, like committing to a long build phase, but then also committing to the time in the gym for each session, like actually
Yeah,
rushing through a session, actually being like, okay, maybe this is going to take me an hour, an hour and a half, like knowing how long it's going to take me, and then being super focused on that session in the gym so that I have time for all of my rest periods. I can do all my slow tempo without having to rush through. Like I think rushing through workouts is something that a lot of people
yeah,
do just to get it done, but obviously that's not optimal. And then, like you said, obviously all the other parts like sleep and rest and food, and it's just the combination of everything that's gonna
yeah.
that change.
And look, and you just evolve. Like every time you prep, your first prep, you're not going to get it perfect. The first time you join a gym, you're not going to get your program right in the first couple of weeks. Like it really is building on your habits over time, and that's the exciting thing. And that's why, I tell my clients, this weightlifting thing isn't for 3 months. This is for the rest of your life. Like you start doing this right now, just focus on this week, and we'll focus on that next week. Like it's a long term vision. And if you're going to compete, okay, that's just this part of it. When you compete, you really focus on those couple of real modalities, and that food works for you. Okay, we're sticking with those food sources, and that's your key programming components. We're going to focus on those things. Every time you learn and you grow and have some long-term vision as well. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And what's one thing that you wished you started doing earlier for muscle growth?
Weight training. So I was a runner really until I hit 30. So I was a long distance runner in most of my 20s, as well as a bit of partying earlier on in my early 20s. And it wasn't until I decided to do that first bikini comp, I went from like 2 days in the gym, sort of dabbling in weight training, to actually focusing and doing 5 days for that first ICN comp. And then I'm like, well, I can actually do this. And I'm not going to be this huge, massive figure competitor, which I didn't want to be at the time, but I'm so happy I am now. Yeah. Yeah, no, it's an amazing journey. I absolutely love bodybuilding and what it can do. Yeah.
Yeah, agreed. So, what are your short and long term goals with FMG?
Uh, Short term, win that crown. I'm ready. Like it's time. Yeah, I don't know, I've been really close. I think in the last couple of comps, my best physique today would have been Vegas Worlds, um, 2023, 2022. The years are escaping me already, but I know I can do even better. So yeah, I'm ready to win that crown and title. And I think like just have fun with posing is one thing as well. That's something else that the judges are looking for, that you've changed and evolved your posing as well. Now the FMG, the judging criteria is 70% physique. Really in particular, I have to be able to show off my physique and have the best physique I've ever had. Posing is quite fun, and I really enjoy it. Like I love walking out on that stage. It's the best feeling. And to be able to have some creativity in my posing to show off the physique, yeah, I love that about FMG. So I'm very much found my place at FMG. I think this is my jam, and it suits me because of that, in large because of that posing and that fashion component. And I love all the glitz and glam, and it is different to other federations for sure. It's unique, but the figure category allows me to really push my physique as well, and that athletic side of it. It's my sport for sure. So long term, I guess long term and short term go hand in hand. I want to win a crown, but I also maybe want to win more than one crown. And then I would love to take clients to stage. So just as a coach of, long term being more into general population training, but I'm just starting to really appreciate taking clients through their own comp prep journey. Like it's obviously easy and it's a passion. Um, as as you're aware, you just want to share your journey and your experience. So for those wanting to their first prep or their second prep or go for their pro card, I think moving forward I will potentially slow down as I get older, so and head more into that coaching realm, but coaching FMG clients.
Yeah, I love that. And
Yeah.
I can definitely see the passion coming through, in your content and even just when you talk about it, which is really incredible. Do you feel like having those long-term goals of a crown or multiple crowns helps you with your training and your prep and really that drive?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll be pushing through a set, my legs are absolutely burning and I'm sweating and, absolutely mess, but that I've got to get through, this rep has to count and this rep has to count, and slow it down and focus. Like I want my quads to be better than they were last year and last time on stage, and I don't know, that time on stage is such a short amount of time and it pretty much only matters, basically to me. People on the street don't know what I do in general or when they walk past, but it matters to me because I want to push and I want to know, can I be better and do better, and I know I can. So I just need to. I think about and visualize how I'm going to look on stage and how I'm going to represent what all the hard work that I've been doing in those quiet moments on my own. Yeah, I want to show the world and inspire, hopefully, as well.
Yeah, absolutely. That time on stage is so short, especially compared to like all the work that you put in. So I love that perspective that you put on it. How do you deal with feedback from judges and your placings and shows? Like, how does that kind of transition into your preps and your off seasons?
Yeah, look, I guess essentially it's data. It's data that whether or not I sort of step outside. So the last I've come second 4 times on the pro stage. So obviously, I do want that first place, and I know it's going to come if I keep working towards it, and if I believe in it, and if I work on my mindset as well as everything else. So I think that's the biggest thing for me. I've always been quite introverted and quiet, and you have to battle in your own head, like, is this worth it? Am I worth it? Is my goal, is all this hard work and maybe sacrifices for those around me as well. Is it worth it? And what's the positive outcomes from this? So that having a judge subjectively give me feedback from what they see on the day, that's their job. And this is the sport. And, I need to take that in a way, separating my emotions from however I feel of coming second and not coming first, because that emotion, while it is amazing and I'm grateful for it, and I think, oh my God, I came second in the world or second in Australia, like that's incredible. I never would have thought I even got my pro card years ago. But yeah, I was a little bit disappointed, but then it's also I'm disappointed with myself because maybe I should have done this, maybe I should have done this. So it's a mixed emotions to get judges' feedback, but it's also data that I'm grateful for so that we can work with that and move forward. And that's me and my coaching team. So and my partner as well. So we're all working together to help me take that information and use it on the daily to get better. So pretty much I can see what the judges were saying in terms of their feedback. Most of it was pretty positive. So actually all of it was positive and it was what I can work with moving forward. So in the end, I agree with the feedback, and this is a sport, and if I want to keep going, that I need to be receptive of that and take it on board and work with it, but also maybe analyze it myself, like where else can I get better. So there's a couple of things that I didn't get feedback on that I actually want to get better in, so I've been working on that as well, because I think I can do even better than what they've said is the minimum to get me to that next level, because
Yeah,
I want to be the absolute best that I can be, and be really, really proud of myself and know that I've put it in as much as I can.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. I love that. And I think it is so helpful to get that judge's feedback, but then also I think it's just key to have that growth mindset, which you've obviously got, like always looking for things to improve, even if you didn't get feedback on certain things. Like I know some competitors struggle when most of their feedback is positive because they're like, okay, what can I actually work on now? But I suppose
yeah,
there's always, coaches and people in the audience that can give you feedback as well as the judges and say, maybe there's things that you can improve on, or you can watch back on old videos if you weren't top five and can't get feedback. I think that's a really good way
yeah.
just
That's a good
to
tip.
help
Yeah.
competitors. Yeah. Cool. And what advice would you give to someone who just started out in bodybuilding, especially anyone who wants to enter the figure category?
Just get your consistency up. So on the daily, you know, make make this your new lifestyle. So you've got to make your weight training consistent, your food consistent. They're the basics, and then sleep. Make it part of your identity then. So, and that's part of habit creation. So make it consistent, then it's a habit. Make that habit part of your identity. You brush your teeth every day, you're going to the gym 5 days a week, you're walking however many times it is. You know, you I I remember going to the service station and telling myself, no, I'm not that person that buys chocolate at the servo. That's not who I am. And that was a big sort of mindset change for me initially, um, because I was a chocoholic for a long time. So that was one sort of little habit and mindset change that I had to make in myself. And now, like, it doesn't phase me at all. And it hasn't for quite a few years. So I think just taking it easy on yourself and being open to creating your new identity in a way, and be mindful of the thoughts that you tell yourself.
Yeah, I love that. And I think it's doing it one step at a time as well. Like you don't have to change
Yeah,
everything all at once. I think it is a lot easier if you kind of do it one step at a time and get those habits in place before you actually start a prep. Because if you go from 0 to 100 and you're living a completely different lifestyle and then you start
that's
prep, it
it.
is going to be really hard and probably unenjoyable. So I think starting early and making those changes, like you said, to your identity a bit earlier is super helpful as well.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. And I think like having a great coach, you can't, I mean, I've heard of it done, but ideally you're in prep to undergo a serious amount of dedication to a goal where you're going to step on stage. You want to be able to be the best that you can be on that stage. So you need someone that knows what they're doing to help guide you through that. And that's an experienced coach. Hopefully, if it's the FMG stage, then they're a coach that's experienced with FMG, because it is different to other federations and it's next level. So, we've got some of the best in the world in FMG, and it's amazing, and it makes me so proud. If you're going to make the decision to compete, and be prepared that it might be 2, 3 years away as well. So every physique is different and everyone's life is different. If you're someone that does take a long time to build muscle, then ideally, maybe we do need to look at mapping out this person that's going to do bodybuilding for the first time, particularly in the figure category. It may be a couple of years down the track, and that is completely fine. You're in prep, you're just in a really long one.
Yeah, absolutely. I could not agree with that more. And finally, what is one piece of advice that you wish you knew before you started competing?
To slow down and take time. Um, yeah, I don't know. I guess um, because of a lot of other changes in my life in my competing years as well, and that's partly being a mum and going through a divorce and starting businesses. In a way, I've been in a little bit of a hurry at times. So COVID helped to slow us down, as you said, and learning that that's okay, that there is always competition. So, um, yeah, just taking the time, mapping it out. Like FMG now has how many global competitions? Like, take your pick, and if one isn't going to work, that's okay. Let's go to the next one. We've got another 12 weeks or something. So yeah, I'd be okay with waiting, and that there's no particular one comp that you have to do. If it's not going to work for you, there's no point sacrificing yourself for that particular one. Really take your time, map
Yeah,
it out, plan for it.
yeah, 100%. I think you need to be all in for a comp, like, mindset and physique wise, like you have to be all in for that prep and that show. And like you said, FMG has so many shows, like literally every month at the moment, there's an FMG show all over the world, which is
Yeah, it's
crazy. It's just
amazing.
need to pick from.
It'd be so cool just to do like the world tour, like just
Yeah,
keep going around.
that's
Maybe
so,
maybe not competing, but watching. Yeah,
yeah, wouldn't it be amazing? We should start a group that, you can just travel
yeah,
around shows.
yeah. That's it. In the stamps in the passport.
Yeah, that's it. So, for those who are interested in following the rest of your prep for the Bali show and also possibly reaching out about coaching or, skincare advice or anything like that, where can they find you online?
Pretty much mostly on Instagram. I do have several pages, so there is a page for each of those avenues. So I am Tracey Defferrard, WBFF Pro is my main page, and from there you can find the other pages, which is Unlimited Coaching, UNLMTD Coaching. And then I'm Nurse Tracy at Amanda Fritz Aesthetics in Cairns as well. So
Amazing.
yeah,
I'll link all of those below. But thank you so
thank
much
you
for
so
coming
much.
on, and good luck for the rest of your prep for the Bali show. I can't wait to see how you do. That is so, so exciting that you're getting on stage.
Oh, thank you. I can't wait to see your prep. So you're very close now. I'm so
Yeah,
excited. You've made some massive gains as well. So
yeah,
very
thank you.
exciting.
It's crazy to think that by the time this episode comes out, the shows will be all done and dusted for me.
Yeah, wow. I'll
Yeah.
be getting close.
Yeah,
Very
and
exciting.
thank you so much to all of our listeners as well. As always, if you like this episode, then please don't forget to rate it on whatever you're listening on. Give us a follow so you don't miss any of the future episodes. It really does help us to grow and get more incredible guests on like Tracy. And of course, share it to your stories and tag us both. We'd love to see what you're doing while you're listening as well. Thank you so much.